Looking for a cheap and fun Halloween costume to DIY this year? Well, you found the right video. Let's get into it. Just got to Goodwill, so I'm gonna go in here and I hope I can find some just plain white sheets for a pretty cheap price. So we'll see what they have. Oh, success at my first store. Which I feel like never happens. But I was able to get 3 white sheets over there. So hopefully that's enough fabric and we can just make it work. Each of the sheets was $2.99. And then I also got this bow tie. This is for another costume that we're doing for the following weekend. So all of that together came out to $11.19. So not too bad, and definitely less than if I had bought some sheets even from like Walmart or something. So all right, let's get home and start cutting these up. My sheets are freshly washed and dried. I've got this one laid out, so I think I'm gonna cut it into strips before I dye it. I don't know, I may regret that decision, but I'm gonna do like 2-inch strips across. Well, as you can see, I have 2 very unhelpful assistants in this process. But fortunately, I wasn't really going for perfection on the measurements. So I've cut little slits at roughly 2 inches apart, and then I'm gonna try to just rip it down. I'm not really sure how this is gonna work. So the ripping technique actually worked a lot better than I even was expecting. So that was definitely a good strategy, and I like how it doesn't necessarily look perfect, which is kind of the look I'm going for. So that was 1 flat queen size sheet, just for reference. I think that would probably be enough for 1 costume, but I'm making this for both myself and my husband. So just to be sure, I'm gonna go ahead and rip up a 2nd sheet just to make sure I have enough. Plan is that I'm going to fill this bucket up with warm to hot water and then fill it up with a bunch of bags of tea. So the bucket would get way too heavy if I filled it up. So I'm gonna have to like run from the kitchen to the bucket with a smaller bucket of hot water. So maybe not the most efficient. I filled the bucket up about halfway with water. I think that'll be enough. And then I'm gonna just add a bunch of tea bags into the water. So I added 23 bags of tea. Not really sure if that's the right measurements or not, but I'm gonna let it steep for a little bit, stir it around, and then we'll add some of the fabric. I'm gonna start with a handful of the strips and we'll see how this goes. So I think the longer I leave them in, the darker the cloth is gonna get. So I'm not sure. I'm gonna maybe do like 5 minutes and see what that looks like. So it's been 5 minutes, but looking at that, it looks pretty light because when it dries, it's gonna get even lighter. So I think I need to do at least 5 more minutes. All right, 5 more minutes has gone by. So let's do a quick check. I don't know, it still looks a little light, especially after it dries. So I think I might add a little bit more tea and then also keep it in and check it after 5 more minutes. Fast forward, it's been about 30 minutes total. And they are starting to get some color. So I think I'm going to take this batch out and start on the next batch. And I may do them for like varying lengths of time to have a little variation between the strips. It's not really coming through on camera, but in person you can tell that they are getting a little brown. Okay, so now you can tell. Here's a quick little comparison. Those are the ones obviously that just came out, and those are the fresh ones. So they definitely did get some color in about 30 minutes. Spread them all out on a tarp to help with drying. And then I saw in one video, somebody took like coffee grinds and rubbed it in to the cloth to try to make it look a little more aged. So I got these. I'm gonna try and see how this goes. It may just be more effort than it's worth, but we'll see what it looks like. The coffee technique is actually really good and easy. So it really does put a lot of color on the fabric. So you can see like, these are the ones I put coffee on, and then those are the ones I didn't yet. So obviously I'll have to shake all of the grinds off when they dry, but it does add a lot of color to it. So I think I like this. I'm gonna keep going. I'm not gonna lie, the coffee technique is pretty tedious, but I think it looks really good. These are the ones I just finished. So I hung them up here to help them dry a little faster. And now I'm gonna get the next batch out of the bucket, which was definitely a lot more strips. So this one may take a little update. The coffee technique, it definitely looks really good and makes it, gives it that older effect for sure, but it takes a really long time. I've been working on this now for a couple of hours. The end is in sight. I just have these left and then this little pile, and all of those over there are done. So it looks really good, but it definitely does not make it a faster process. This is just how I've been doing it. Just put some coffee on it and then like smear it around. So really no like technique to it, but just, I'm doing both sides. I don't know if I need to or not, but I don't want to get to the wrapping phase and then wish I had. So I'm just going ahead and doing both sides right now. Just as a quick comparison, that's after coffee, and then these were just soaked in the tea over here. So you can see that they definitely get a lot darker with the... Finally done dipping all of the strips in the tea and coffee. It's now 7 o'clock and I started right around 4, so it's about 3 hours. I took maybe like a 15-minute break in there, so roughly 3 hours to do this. So definitely not like super fast, quick and easy, but it looks really good. Like it definitely looks dirty and old, and you know, really the look I was going for. So I'm happy with how it turned out. I will let you know if this is the right number of strips, too many or not enough. I really don't know, but I really didn't want to run out. So hopefully it's at least enough for 2 costumes. Today is the day of the party, and I am trying to figure out how to make this costume situation work. So I am very concerned about how I'm gonna go to the bathroom, and like want to make sure that I can still do that with however this costume turns out. So I was thinking about wrapping like the shorts and then wearing, you know, just like a tighter shirt and wrapping it all the way up. But then I don't think I'm going to be able to take the shorts off if they're wrapped up because the sheets are not stretchy at all. So I have come up with a different strategy. I think I'm just going to go with this longer shirt, and it's a little too short. Like you can still see these shorts underneath, but I can like extend it a little bit with my wrapping. So I think I'm gonna just try to make it almost more like a dress, and then I can wear just like plain shorts underneath that I can easily take on and off. And then I'm gonna wrap up these boots with the strips as well. So I don't know for sure if it's gonna work. And like this shirt, I don't care about the shirt, so I can like glue on it or whatever, but I don't want to ruin these boots. So I'm gonna have to try to figure out a way to wrap the boots up without ruining them. So I have about 5 hours until the party starts. So I am going to try to figure this out in the next 5 hours. My idea is that I'm gonna glue, hot glue strips on like this, but the strip is pretty long. So I think I'm gonna leave the long side open like that. And then once I'm done with the whole front, I'm gonna flip it over and then try to make the backs, like use the long tail and like make the backs all connect. So stay tuned. So I glued it up to like the armpit zone, and I think I'm gonna leave the top part and wrap that once I have the shirt on, because I think it's gonna be really hard to navigate it without my arms actually being in the shirt. And then I'm just gonna attach, I think, 2 strips to each arm, and then once it's on, I'm gonna actually wrap it. I did like a little test on my arm, and 1 strip covered from like here to here. So I think 2 should be enough for each arm. But we can always adjust it later once I have it on. So these are like good boots that I don't wanna hot glue on. So I'm gonna try to attach the cloth with safety pins and only do like minimal holes in the shoes. So I don't know, we'll see how this goes. So for my husband's costume, he's wearing these like, they're kind of like fleece lined leggings. They're actually girls, but he's gonna wear these. And so I'm just gonna attach strips. We're thinking it's gonna be about 4 strips per leg. So we're just gonna like attach them on one piece, and then once he puts the pants on, we'll wrap it around and then see if we need to fill in any of the gaps. And then I think like the butt area, I'm gonna have to just do once he puts it on, because that's gonna be kind of hard to gauge. Glued the strips on, so then I'm just gonna take the rest of it and wrap it and then see if it covers everything or if we need to add a little bit. As far as makeup goes, I don't really know what I'm gonna do, but I got this like black eyeshadow, white, and then this white like cream makeup. So I'm thinking kind of like a white face with like black eyes, and I don't really know. So I'm just gonna see how this goes and kind of wing it. I can't find my makeup sponges, so I'm using cotton balls. So this may be kind of a disaster. So I'm back, and it's now 7:15 and the party starts at 7:30, but it's just at our neighbor's house. So that's fine, except this is now gone and our costumes are still not ready. So now we have to try to finish making our costumes, and you know, it's gonna be interesting. So I don't know how the rest of the video is going to really turn out. I have the shell of this costume here. So what I'm gonna do, all right, turn around, so you can kind of just see. And then I'm gonna like try to tie them all together. So I don't really know if this is coming through very well. Which side did this come from?
I don't know.
So then I'm gonna take one from the other side and bring it around here, and then I'm gonna tie these in just like a knot. Okay. Final product of Brad.
And the final reveal for Heather. Looks really good.